One of the most common questions that I get asked when carrying out ESD training is whether we actually need to wear ESD wrist straps. The reason why people don't want to wear them is they can be a little bit impractical, they can be annoying, and they can sometimes slow down production as well. I think the important thing to consider is, number one, why do we need to wear wrist straps? And the reason is to mitigate the risk of human body voltage building up and then damaging ESD sensitive components, ESDs. And the second is what the standard actually says itself. So the standard says that ESD wrist straps must be worn if you're seated at a workstation. So we're going to go through a series of tests to show the efficacy of wrist straps, of flooring and different personal grounding methods to see whether it's appropriate to use them all of the time. So in relation to a build-up of human body voltage, we can do a test to assess whether the human body voltage goes above 100 volts. 100 volts is the limit that is stipulated in the IEC 61340-5-1. So what I have here is an electrostatic field meter, and we're going to do a walking test. So as I move around, this meter will measure the human body voltage which I create, and if it goes above 100 volts, that means that we need to take some precautions to keep that below that parameter. So we have a probe which you hold in one hand, and this is connected to the meter. The meter will then measure what the maximum human body voltage that I create whilst moving around. So just moving around like this will give us some readings. As we can see here, we've got 540 volts. Just going to do a close-up of this as well so you can see the meter going up and down. The important thing whenever you're using personal grounding, so either a wrist strap or ESD heel grounders as I've got on here, it is important that you test them. So here we have our meter, which can test both wrist straps and feet. So essentially we just have to stand on and then connect the wrist strap. So as you can see, we've got the meter set up here. I just need to press the button. You can see that my left and my right foot are passing, and just down here it shows here that the wrist strap's passing as well. If I'm to lift my left foot, you can see that my left is failing, and if I lift my right foot, you can see that the right foot's failing, and same thing if I unplug the wrist strap, you can see that the wrist strap fails. So we've established that we create human body voltage and that it's above 100 volts. So we've decided that we need to put into place some personnel grounding. So we've tested our wrist strap on our wrist strap testing meter to make sure that it's compliant with the standard. So that is below 35 megohms resistance for the system, which is the wrist strap, the cable and me. What I'm going to do now is just repeat that exact same test that we did earlier, just to see what the voltage is that is then created. So simply attach it to my grounding point, put on the wrist strap, and then we're going to repeat the exact same test as we did before. So I'm just walking around, sliding my feet around a little bit just to see if I can create any human body voltage. Looking at the meter, we've got 1 volt created. So we've gone from around 500 to 600 volts to now creating 1 volt, which is well within the parameters in which the IEC 61340-5-1 states. I won't keep saying that standard. I'm going to refer to it as the standard from now on, otherwise you'll be watching me rabbit on forever. So as you can see here, I'm holding the probe and I have the wrist strap on, and I'm just sliding my feet around, walking around, trying to create some voltage. And as you can see, the human body voltage is 0. Now, just to prove that I'm not fixing this, I'm going to detach the wrist strap now and do exactly the same test. As you can see, it's jumped straight up to a maximum voltage of 555. So, what what we've established with the wrist strap is that it's pretty effective at reducing human body voltage. So without a wrist strap, we were at about 550 volts of human body voltage. With a wrist strap, maybe 1 or 2 volts, something around that figure. Now, one of the problems with wrist straps that we always hear is that they can be quite impractical, and there's a few reasons as to why you might not want to wear one. So firstly, from a health and safety perspective, having a wrist strap attached to you could possibly be dangerous, especially if you're working on a conveyor belt or on a production line with machinery. The second reason is that it can be quite impractical and it can slow down production as well. So if you're stood up, a question that we're asked is, do you need to wear a wrist strap if you have an ESD floor like this one, and then ESD footwear, as I've got on here. I showed earlier how to test ESD footwear using our wrist strap and footwear tester. So what we're going to do is test the efficacy of the heel grounders that I've got on, the ESD floor that we have here, and use the same meter and do the same test. So on the meter here, just shuffling around and just moving around as I did before, we can see that the human body voltage, the maximum amount is 12 on there. So as you can see, I'm just holding the probe as we did before. I don't have the wrist strap on, I've just got the ESD floor, and here we go, shuffling around on the floor. And as you can see, it does create a little bit of voltage. The voltage there is mainly when my heels are lifted off of the floor, but the heel ground is still in contact. Great, and again, just to show, if I step off the ESD floor and do the same thing, then that voltage builds up significantly. So in summary, what we've shown here is that everybody creates human body voltage, and as I demonstrated, it can go as high as 500, 600, 700 volts just from walking around on a carpet. If we then wear a wrist strap, then that almost eliminates the risk of human body voltage, and it keeps it well below kind of 1, 2 volts. If we are to wear ESD footwear on an ESD floor, that is an effective way of mitigating the risk of an ESD event damaging your ESD sensitive devices. So according to the standard, if you're sat down, you should wear a wrist strap. If you're stood up, you need to be grounded, so you should at least have an ESD floor and ESD footwear. And I would always recommend, why not wear a wrist strap if you're at a desk, even with the ESD floor, because it's just an added layer of protection.